All right, let's talk about it. That little glowing rectangle in your pocket. That complicated, sometimes amazing, sometimes frustrating relationship we all have with our phones. In this explainer, we're going to dig into how we can start taking back our most valuable resource, our attention. So let's just start with this. This is a really powerful and honestly a very personal statement. This isn't just about some abstract statistic. It's about real life. When Dr. Shavana said this, she wasn't talking about a lack of willpower. She was talking about a genuine struggle that literally cost her time, focus, and energy. And that's a story that probably hits home for a lot of us, right? So yeah, does that sound familiar? Let's get real for a second. Are you one of the millions of people who reaches for their phone before your feet even hit the floor in the morning? Do you fill every single empty moment, waiting in line, walking to your car, with a quick scroll? If that's you, trust me, you are so not alone. In fact, you're pretty much in the majority. The average person now spends over 4 hours a day on their phone. Think about that. That's a quarter of our waking lives, just staring at a screen. This isn't some small personal failing, it's a massive cultural shift. And it really begs the question, why? What makes these things so darn hard to put down? Well, to answer that, we actually have to look inside our own heads. We're going to get into the science of it, the neuroscience of why it's so tough to just put the phone away. And it really all comes down to one tiny but incredibly powerful chemical. Now here's where things get really interesting, because there's a huge misconception about dopamine. We've all heard it called the pleasure chemical, but that's not quite right. It's really the motivation chemical. It's the little voice in your brain that says, hey, pay attention, something good might happen, so you should go check it out. It's the engine of wanting, the feeling of anticipation that drives us to seek things out. And this is exactly how that system gets hijacked. I mean, look at this. Tech companies have basically engineered their apps to work just like a slot machine in Vegas. It's called a variable reward schedule. You pull the lever, or you pull down to refresh your feed, and you have no idea what you're going to get. Maybe nothing, or maybe a jackpot of likes, comments, and messages. It is that unpredictability that keeps our brains hooked, always coming back for one more pull. And that leads us to this really striking metaphor. The smartphone has become the perfect delivery device for these tiny, constant hits of dopamine. It's a digital needle. It's always there, always in our pocket, ready to give us a quick fix, a quick escape from boredom. And every single time we use it for that, we just make that craving cycle stronger. Okay, so we get it. Our brains are being played a little bit. But so what? What's the actual cost of all this? Because as we're about to see, what we're losing is way, way more valuable than just a few hours of our day. This quote from a Nobel laureate, Herbert Simon, is just perfect. And get this, he said this decades before the smartphone even existed. It has never been more true than it is today. We have all the information in the world at our fingertips, but it has come at a huge cost to our ability to actually focus on any of it.
The costs really break down into 3 big areas. First, our attention is just shattered. Every time you switch from what you're doing to check your phone and then go back, you leave behind something called attention residue. It makes it harder and harder to do deep, focused work. Second, our sleep gets wrecked. That blue light from our screens literally suppresses melatonin. That's the hormone that tells your body, hey, it's time to sleep. And finally, our relationships suffer. We miss those little moments, those subtle bids for connection from the people we love because we're looking down at a screen.
And get this is wild. Studies have shown that just having a phone on the table, even if it's face down and on silent, makes our conversations feel less connected, less empathetic. The simple presence of the phone signals to the other person, hey, I might not be fully here with you. It's that powerful. So, what on earth do we do about all this? Well, the answer isn't a bunch of quick tips or life hacks. It actually requires a much deeper shift in our mindset. It requires a whole new philosophy for how we deal with our tech.
Think about it this way. Hacks like turning off notifications or setting time limits, they're like putting a Band-Aid on the problem. They treat the symptom, right? But they don't fix the underlying cause. A philosophy, on the other hand, makes us ask much bigger questions. Instead of just limiting an app, it asks, wait, why do I even need this app? Does this thing genuinely make my life better and support my values? That's how you get to real, lasting change.
And this is that philosophy. It's called digital minimalism. And I want you to pay close attention to that key phrase, happily miss out. This isn't about feeling deprived. It's the total opposite. It's about being intentional. It's about deciding what's truly important to you, investing your precious attention there, and then just letting all the other noise go, happily. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do it? How do you put it into practice? Let's make this philosophy something you can actually use and look at the first steps you can take, like today. Here's a super simple but really powerful game plan. First, you audit. You just get brutally honest with yourself about how and why you're using your phone. Then you declutter. You delete the apps that just don't pass that "does this support my values" test. And this next part is crucial. You rediscover what you love to do offline so you can fill that new free time with something awesome. And finally, a short detox period can do wonders to just reset your brain's reward system. Let's zoom in on what might be the most important part of this whole thing: rediscovering boredom. We've basically trained ourselves to think that boredom is a problem that needs to be instantly solved with a scroll. But boredom is where the magic happens. It's when our brains get to wander, connect ideas, and solve problems. Boredom isn't a bug in the system, it's a feature. It is, and I love this phrase, the incubator for brilliance.
So we'll leave you with this, a really simple but really powerful question to carry around with you. The next time you feel that pull to pick up your phone, just pause for a second and ask yourself, what is my intention right now? Am I using this as a tool to genuinely connect with someone, to learn something and grow? Or am I just trying to escape a feeling? That one simple pause, that one little question, might just be the key to taking back your attention and ultimately taking back your life.